Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. I'm going to be talking about aspartame, which is a really common sugar substitute, right? Usually known as equal, as a little blue packet. Anyway, it was so interesting. The last couple of days, I was talking about sugar and how sugar is related to alcohol, and specifically the ethanol in alcohol. And incredibly, I started with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And this is kind of that idea of 6 degrees of separation, if you're familiar. And it's the idea that if you put enough links together, everything is connected. Okay, that's totally what went down here. So I said Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I was talking about Willy Wonka. And Willy Wonka was played by Gene Wilder. Incredibly, I wanted to talk about Tab Cola, right? And I did a little thing saying, Tab Cola, what a beautiful drink. And I was talking about saccharin, right, in Tab Cola, and how it only had 1 calorie, and isn't that amazing? Well, so incredibly, a song was done by Gilda Radner, who was a comedian on Saturday Night Live, married to Gene Wilder. Thank you very much. And a song that she did was called Goodbye Saccharin. And this was in 1977. And it was when the Food and Drug Administration had determined that saccharin was causing cancer in lab rats. Well, though Gilda Radner did not write the song Goodbye Saccharin, and I'm going to include it in the description of this video, she did say that she wanted to kind of put her head in a mindset that could understand why someone would lament losing saccharin. Then it occurred to her that Tab Cola was her drink of choice, and that it had saccharin, and that she would most certainly miss her Tab Cola. And that gave her the ability to relate to the song. So, like, what? Like, hello, Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Gene Wilder, Gilda Radner, Tab Cola, saccharin. I mean, like, all of these things are all connecting. Okay, but here's the tragedy of that. So in the song, and it talks about, from Arkansas to Akron, I will look for saccharin, and it's this whole thing about lamenting saccharin being pulled and desperately trying to get as much saccharin as she could. And then she was incredibly skinny. And I know she was petite, and she may very well have been naturally thin. I'll never know. What I do know is in the late 70s and early 80s, when she was on SNL, there was a lot of drugs and coke going up people's noses, okay? Which could certainly lead to skinny. But in the song, it was talking about how guys would rather have a skinny chick with cancer than a fat girlfriend. And sadly, just 12 short years later, at the age of 42, which, come on, that's young by all accounts, Gilda Radner ended up dying from cancer. She actually died from ovarian cancer. Now, I'm not going to say that was directly linked to her love of saccharin, though it was certainly proven in lab rats that it was causing cancer. But it was so tragic. And I mean, what a loss of such a talented person. But many people immediately remembered her saccharin song. And her husband was broken for the rest of his life. I mean, such a talented guy, no doubt. And went on to do, of course, many great movies. Young Frankenstein comes to mind. But he never recovered from his love of his beautiful Gilda Radner. So peace be with them. But anyway, saccharin was the little pink packet, right, which was largely referred to as sweet and low. And then, of course, the white packet was sugar itself. And, I have always kind of been a sugar person, not directly. I wasn't a person who poured sugar on my food or anything. And in terms of artificial sweeteners, I certainly did play those games at times, but they were so physically painful to me to use sugar-free anything that I would just prefer the real thing. But I did want to share about aspartame, which of course is that blue packet, which is usually equal. And we certainly have other sweeteners today, right? I mean, one big thing, of course, is agave, which people love, considered natural. Another one that people love is stevia. It comes from a plant, considered natural. There's nothing better than fruit. Like that's straight up, right? Just stay with fruit and the whole fruit and nothing but the fruit, so help you God. Not juice or anything, but just fruit with its fiber in its wholeness. And also to just slice that up and put it in your water, right? I mean, you can make that happen. But I just wanted to share about aspartame because this is by far the most popular today. Because saccharin, though it still exists and it's still used in many products, it's nowhere near as popular as aspartame. This is like the big one. And it's got a lot of bad side effects, and I just wanted to share on that. So this is from healthline.com, and I will include it in the description of the video as well. So here is the aspartame controversy. Aspartame is one of the most popular artificial sweeteners available on the market. In fact, chances are good that you or someone you know has consumed an aspartame-containing diet soda within the past 24 hours. And of course, Tab, which was off the market by, I think, 2006, was the precursor to Diet Coke for the Coke products. And Diet Coke most certainly has aspartame in it, and really any diet soda does. I'm so grateful. I've been off diet soda since I was 23 years old. I'm so amazing. And I was realizing I haven't had alcohol since I was 26 years old. So I've been clean on those things, but food is my greatest challenge. Okay, so in 2010, 1/5 of all Americans drank a diet soda on any given day. 1/5, 1 in 5 people. According to the Centers for Disease Control, it's interesting that it has to fall under disease control, right? While the sweetener remains popular, it's also faced controversy in recent years. Many opponents have claimed that aspartame is actually bad for your health, like straight up bad for your health. There are also claims about long-term repercussions of aspartame consumption. Unfortunately, while extensive tests have been conducted on aspartame, there's no consensus as to whether aspartame is bad for you. Like, it's elusive. They know it is, they're seeing the signs that it is, but they can't concretely prove it the way they were able to prove saccharin. What is aspartame? Aspartame is sold under the names NutraSweet and Equal. It's also used widely in packaged products, especially those labeled as diet foods. The ingredients of aspartame are aspartic acid and phenylalanine. Both are naturally occurring amino acids. Aspartic acid is produced by your body, and phenylalanine is an essential amino acid that you get from food. When your body produces aspartame, part of it is broken down into methanol. Consumption of fruit juice, fermented beverages, and some vegetables also contain or result in methanol production. As of 2014, aspartame was the largest source of methanol in the American diet. Methanol is toxic in large quantities, yet smaller amounts may also be concerning when combined with free methanol because of enhanced absorption. Free methanol is present in some foods and is also created when aspartame is heated. Free methanol consumed regularly may be a problem because it breaks down into formaldehyde, right, which they use to embalm people. A known carcinogen, carcinogen means cancer-causing, and neurotoxin, dangerous to the brain in the body. However, the Food Standards Agency in the United Kingdom states that even in children who are high consumers of aspartame, the maximum intake level of methanol is not reached. They also state that since eating fruit and vegetables is known to enhance health, methanol intake from these sources is not a high priority for research. Yet, it has been found that aspartame found in commercial products or heated beverages may be a seizure trigger and should be evaluated in cases of difficult seizure management. Okay, so aspartame approvals. A number of regulatory agencies and health-related organizations have weighed in favorably on aspartame. It's gained approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the World Health Organization, the American Heart Association, and the American Dietetic Association. And follow the money trail, people. Like, who is sponsoring these approvals? In 2013, the European Food Safety Authority concluded a review of more than 600 data sets from aspartame studies. It found no reason to remove aspartame from the market. The review reported no safety concerns associated with normal or increased intake. At the same time, artificial sweeteners have a long history of controversy. Aspartame was developed around the time the FDA banned the artificial sweeteners cyclamate, which was called sucralose, and saccharin, which was sweet and low. Lab tests showed that massive doses of these two compounds cause cancer and other disorders in laboratory animals. While aspartame is indeed approved by the FDA, the consumer advocate organization Center for Science and the Public Interest has cited numerous studies that suggest problems with the sweetener, including a study by Harvard School of Public Health. In 2000, the National Institutes of Health decided saccharin could be removed from the list of cancer-causing substances. Though cyclamate is available in more than 50 countries, it is not sold in the United States. Now, was it removed from that because we lowered our standards as opposed to it no longer being a problem? Come on. Whenever a product is labeled sugar-free, that usually means it has an artificial sweetener in place of sugar. While not all sugar-free products contain aspartame, it's still one of the most popular sweeteners and is widely available in a number of packaged goods. Some examples of aspartame-containing products include diet soda, sugar-free ice cream, reduced-calorie fruit juice, gum, yogurt, and sugarless candy. Using other sweeteners can help you limit your aspartame intake. However, if you want to avoid aspartame altogether, you'll also need to make sure to look out for its packaged goods. Aspartame is most often labeled as containing phenylalanine. I can't say that word. Phenylalanine. Okay, so here are some of the aspartame side effects. According to the American Cancer Society, aspartame is approximately 200 times sweeter than sugar. So, only a very small amount is needed to give food and beverages a sweet flavor. The acceptable daily intake recommendations for the FDA and EFSA are 50 milligrams per kilogram of body weight or 40 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. A can of diet soda contains about 185 milligrams of aspartame. So a 150-pound person would have to drink more than 18 cans of soda a day to exceed the daily intake of the FDA recommendation. Alternately, they'd need nearly 15 cans if they were going with the other recommendation. However, people who have a condition called PKU shouldn't use aspartame, and people who are taking medications for schizophrenia should also avoid it. Anti-aspartame activists, those are the ones I'm talking about, claim there's a link between aspartame and a multitude of ailments, including. And remember, the people who actually have human interest in mind, like vegans and everything, can't often afford the studies to prove what common humans are reporting regularly to one another, right? So they say that aspartame has caused cancer, seizures, which is a hyperlink, migraine headaches beyond belief, depression, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which of course is terrifically on the rise, right along with the use of aspartame, dizziness, weight gain, not loss. I mean, ever since we've put diet or sugar replacements on the market, people have only gotten heavier, right? Birth defects, God bless them, lupus, and Alzheimer's disease, as well as multiple sclerosis. Wow. Let's go back, because I'm on the side of this. And I suffered insane migraines for years, and I attribute a lot of it now, with my understanding, to aspartame and things like that. Praise God, I've been clean, and in the last couple of years, in going plant-based, I've absolutely been nearly migraine-free, only 1 or 2 a year. I used to have 15 a month. People wanted me to get like Botox, which is putting in death in my body. What? Okay, let's go back. So cancer, seizures, headaches, depression, attention deficit, dizziness, weight gain, birth defects, lupus, Alzheimer's, and multiple sclerosis. It kills me to see those recent Diet Coke commercials that say, your mother was the most intelligent person in your life, and she drank Diet Coke, and so should you. I'm like, what? Maybe that was the only unintelligent thing your mother did. Okay, so research is ongoing to confirm or invalidate connections between these ailments and aspartame, but currently there are still inconsistent outcomes in studies. Some research reports increased risk, symptoms, or disease acceleration, while others report no negative outcomes. Again, follow the money trail with aspartame intake. Okay, so here's another. Aspartame effects on diabetes and weight loss. Yeah, it's a big problem. When it comes to diabetes and weight loss, one of the first steps many people take is to cut empty calories from their diets. This often includes sugar. Aspartame has both pros and cons when considering diabetes and obesity. First, the Mayo Clinic states that in general, artificial sweeteners may be beneficial for those with diabetes. Still, this doesn't necessarily mean that aspartame is the best sweetener of choice. You should ask your doctor first. Sweeteners may also help weight loss efforts, but it's usually only the case if you consume a lot of sugar-containing products before trying to lose weight. Switching from sugary products to those containing artificial sweeteners may also reduce the risk of cavities and tooth decay. According to a 2014 PLOS-1 study, rats that were fed aspartame had lower body masses overall. One caveat to the results was that these same rats also had more gut bacteria, as well as increased blood sugar. This increase in blood glucose was also linked to insulin resistance. All of this from doing artificial sweetener. The research is far from conclusive about how aspartame and other non-nutritive sweeteners affect these diseases and others. Some natural alternatives to aspartame. The controversy over aspartame continues. Available evidence doesn't suggest long-term negative effects, but research is ongoing. Before you switch back to sugar, which is high in calories and has no nutritional value, you can consider natural alternatives to aspartame that you might try sweetening foods and beverages with, such as monk fruit, allulose, and stevia leaves. While such products are indeed more natural compared to artificial versions like aspartame, you should still consume these alternatives in limited quantities. Like sugar, natural alternatives to aspartame can contain a lot of calories with little to no nutritional value. Aspartame's outlook. Public concern over aspartame remains alive, and well today. Scientific research hasn't shown any consistent proof of harm, thereby leading to acceptance for everyday use. Due to heavy criticism, many people have taken steps to avoid artificial sweeteners altogether. Silent applause. Still, the consumption of aspartame by people conscious about their sugar intake continues to soar. When it comes to aspartame, your best bet, as with sugar and other sweeteners, is to consume it in limited amounts. Or not at all, right? Or not at all. This was kind of a sweet little one. I actually had a better one on the effects of aspartame, and it was like wicked awful, but it was impossible to read because I had to just keep clicking over and over. So one thing it said was that it affected hearing. It affected eyesight. Of course, they mentioned the migraines. Of course, they talked about the imbalance in blood sugar because the body wasn't able to monitor that. I'm going to include this one too. It was just obnoxious because you have to click to next, and then every time you do, all these ads come on. Another thing, chronic inflammation. If you suffer from chronic inflammation like rheumatoid arthritis or anything like that, aspartame is a nightmare for you. Like, you do not want to be using it. Anything artificial and chemical laden is wrong. Okay, weight loss prevention. If you're struggling to lose weight, the cause of your stagnant weight loss could be related to overconsumption of aspartame. Although there are no calories in artificial sweetener, it could still be sabotaging your fat loss results. Aspartame creates inflammation in the walls of the intestine, and this systematic inflammation spreads from the gut to every other biological system in your body. I told you guys, when I first got off Diet Coke, I lost 20 pounds. Like, that was my first 20 pounds. But it doesn't have any calories. It is such a flippin' nightmare on the body. The body doesn't even know which way's up. And when it finally figured it out, it let it go. Okay, here was that other thing on the seizure risk. Psychogenetic non-elliptic seizures are thought to be a form of psychosomatic illness experienced by people that endure persistent stressful situations. Exposure to excessive stress creates somatization of the unconscious mental processes. The condition is widely misdiagnosed and exacerbated by consuming aspartame. God bless everyone, yeah? Oh my gosh, it even says that pilots are not to drink aspartame during active flight time because methanol is a severe toxic reaction to the body. I am so sorry. Another one, oh, they ain't playing. Abdominal pain and cramping. I will tell you, when just a couple years ago, because I was eating all the sugar in the world, I was eating all the fat foods, I was happy. It was all good. But when I first decided that I had to turn it around, I was going to start doing, fake sugar. And my husband, I think it was for the first Valentine's, lovingly got me a bunch of sugar-free candy. And I consumed it like I would any, which is enough for a small country all at once. Oh my Lord. I can't remember. We may have taken me to the hospital. I had never had so much abdominal pain in my life. So there's a link between aspartame consumption and gastrointestinal irritation. Consuming aspartame products like Diet Coke, diet sodas, inflames the GI tract with like irritable bowel syndrome. When aspartame launched in the 80s, complaints from the public regarding stomach pain, etc. was through the roof. When the test subjects discontinued the use of the artificial sweetener, their gastric disorders subsided. Wow. I'm just praying. Because people don't want to hear that it's their food, right? They just want to be sure that it's just the body's inability to cope. Our bodies are miraculous. The nonsense they put up with is astounding. Our ability to recover was like the beauty of our planet in the first 2 months of the COVID. How quickly it renewed. Okay, possible cancer antagonist. In 2018, an estimated 609,640 people died from cancer, breast cancer, bronchus and lung cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, etc. The cancer mortality rate is more significant for men than women. Okay, what's your point? Research suggests that the consumption of aspartame may show links to specific forms of colon and intestinal cancer. While the FDA has approved aspartame as safe for use in humans, there are concerns for aspartame absorption by the body and its reluctant effects on metabolism and cognitive function. Unlike other artificial sweeteners such as sucralose, the body changes the compounds of aspartame during metabolism. There is little government research that shows links between aspartame and cancer. However, there is a body of privately funded research that states otherwise. A study cited by the American Cancer Association links aspartame consumption to the risk of developing blood-related cancers such as leukemia and lymphoma. Wow. Just because they can doesn't mean they should, right? Wow. All right, that's the skinny on aspartame. All right, my people, if you like, join us. If you haven't subscribed, let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, stay off of artificial sweeteners. And if you do, know that you'll be blessed.